Okay, Shalom Aleichem, everybody. We're up to Daf Yud Tes today, but we finished in the middle of Daf Yud Chesam at Beis, a little bit toward the top, the first wide line, Tonu Rabbanan. First wide line, Tonu Rabbanan. Says the Holy Gemara, the Heilige Gemara, Tonu Rabbanan. Everybody got it? Tonu Rabbanan, first wide line, Yud Chesam at Beis. Tonu Rabbanan. Tonu Rabbanan, Ahoylech le'etztadinen. Somebody who goes to the coliseums, the arenas, the stadiums, or if somebody goes to a siege, when they, put a siege on a town or in a city, they hire entertainers for the soldiers to keep them entertained. So he wants to go to that show over there that they do for people who besiege a city. So whether it's the stadiums, the arenas, and he sees Nechashim. Nechashim are people who are doing black magic. They're mechashvim. Vesachabaran are those who whisper to the dead. And bukyoin, umukyoin, umulyoin, velulyoin, beloiden, salgurin. Do you know what that means? Those are names of entertainers, of comedians.
Clowns or jesters?
Raise a Moshev Leitzim. That's a Moshev Leitzim. If you go watch them, it's a Moshev Leitzim. V'aleim ha'kosev oimer, ashrei yuish, asher lo yolach, batzas rishoim, ova Moshev Leitzim lo yoshav, derech hatoim lo yomad Reb Shol, Moshev Leitzim lo yoshav, ki b'toiras Hashem cheftzoi. So the psukim over here say, Moshev Leitzim is the opposite of Limud Torah. Yeah, you cannot go to a Moshev Leitzim. Olamadeto shedevorim elalu nevi'en es ha'odom lidei bittul Torah. If you go there, it leads a person to bittul Torah. Anybody have a kasha on this language? Nevi'en. Why?
It's bittul Torah itself.
Oh, doctor's asking. It's bittul Torah mamish. It's not that it leads people. Hello, Eitan. It's not that it leads people to bittul Torah. While you're sitting there, it's bittul Torah. Why does it say mavi'in as adam to bittul Torah? It leads a person to bittul Torah.
Even more bittul Torah.
Oh, so Yosef Chaim says, the truth is, if a person needs a break, he doesn't have to learn. He needs a break. He goes out to lenofesh. He goes out to relax a little bit. That's beseder. But if he gets involved in Moshev Leitzim, then what happens is he gets overly involved in it, and he thinks about it afterward. And it's meviyah the adam to bittul Torah. Even when he's learning, he's thinking about it. So Mamela, therefore, don't do that. Asks Gemara a stira or a mini. Yeah, it's 5 lines from the wide lines that Yud Chesam at Beis Eitan. A mini. It's tadinen mutter. You're allowed to go to a stadium. Why? Coliseum. Think about the Coliseum. They should tzeveach hamatzel. When the wild beast charges at the gladiator, who is a Jew, right? Nebuch, in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, the Churban Beis Hamikdash, they brought 90,000 slaves to Rome, and they used Jews to entertain the Romans, and they were put in front of these wild beasts, and they charge, so he can be tzevech hamatzal, he can yell and scream, asking the Romans to save his life. So it's a mitzvah. You go to a stadium. It doesn't say it's a mitzvah, it's mutter. You're also allowed to go to soldiers who besiege a town or a city. You're allowed to go to the shows they put up for these soldiers. Why? Because then you have a chance while they're laughing to convince them to stop the siege and save the town. Ubelvad, but as long as you don't join the siege to find favor in their eyes, to try to pretend like you're really with them, so you can have more influence over them and try to convince them not to do it. That you're not allowed to do. You can go to the entertainment and kind of befriend them so you can convince them not to do it. But if you join the siege, then that's also to do. You can't go. Gemara asks, Kasha, it's tadinan, that's tadinan. It's a contradiction on its tadinan, on the stadiums. Why? Because in one brisa it says it's mutter, one brisa says it's aser. Kasha karkam akarkim. It's also a kasha on going to entertainment, to the shows they put up for soldiers who besiege a town.
Big power.
Yeah.
There was priestess over there. The woman was half naked.
So in other words, how are you allowed to go to save a life? Pikuach nefesh.
בכוח נפש שלך. המראות האלה יקלקלו אותך, יעשו אותך מופקר. תראה את כל הרומן, הווימן כמו הזונות האלה, כל המופקרות האלה, מה? תלך למקום כזה פרוץ,
Aha.
אתה לא יכול.
אה.
פתאום.
You answered it before. They're like behemoths.
אתה לא יכול ללכת למקום, דוקטור.
They're
דוקטור,
behemoths.
אי אפשר ללכת למקומות האלה.
פיקוח נפש.
איזה פיקוח נפש?
Reb Shaul, by the way, one second. I don't know if the Romans put up. I mean, the gladiator
How
fights.
do we know? Yeah.
Not
where's
sure
the
if
information
you're.
from?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're assuming that they had. Saying that preaches women watching in the stands.
Yeah, of course.
In the audience.
Yeah.
Or maybe they also had what are those people called during halftime? The chair, yeah.
אבל זה לא היה מחיצה, לא היה שם מחיצה באצטדיון, לא היה מחיצה. ישבו ביחד.
לא היה מחיצה. Okay.
They live in the Roman Empire. What's the difference?
The Jews had special seats up top in the Colosseum. They couldn't see; it was stacked on top of each other. Remember that? When we went to get
They did,
You
yeah.
couldn't even see below you.
Okay, but what about next to you? On the other
For
side?
Jewish people, they kept Jews up there.
They kept Jews aware. No, but if you're part of the crowd, of the
No,
general
the
crowd.
more expensive people are down there. The Jews are up there, all the slaves and Jews. The
Uh-huh.
Colosseum we're talking about.
Even the Colosseum, this is in times of
All
Rome.
Jews go to
No,
the
we're
back
talking
of
about
the
Colosseum.
All stadiums.
All stadiums.
Okay. Reb Shaul says you're not allowed to ever. You can't go even to save a life. Okay, we have one Bryce that says it's mutter, one Bryce says it's awesome.
למה? אתה מסכן את העולם הבא שלך.
Who's the Jews Rosa Parks?
You're endangering עולם הבא.
Not Rosa Parks.
You're עולם הבא.
You don't know who that is? You know who that is, right?
You're trying to save somebody else's life.
על חשבון העולם הבא שלך.
Are you not even Mechal Shabbos to save somebody's life?
על חשבון העולם הבא שלך.
You're not even Mechal Shabbos to save somebody's life.
כי התורה נתנה לך.
אז איך אתה יודע שם? פה התורה, אנחנו לומדים תורה עכשיו.
התורה נתנה לך.
לומדים תורה, רב שאול, יש ברייסה שמתיר.
לחלל את השבת, להציל נפש אחת מישראל.
Okay. So,
He's a yochid.
is he okay? Bishloim karka karkoim loy kasha. When you have a contradiction between karka karkoim, one brisa says you're allowed to go and be part of the show that happens by the siege to try to convince them to stop it, that you're allowed to. One brisa says you're not allowed to. So that's not a kasha. Why? Because kam is chashav iman, kam be'em is chashav iman. We said that even when you go to a siege, you're not allowed to go if you're going to be mitztarev. You're going to join the forces in besieging the city, the town, or pretend to join them. Then you're not allowed to. But if you're just going to hang out in the show by the entertainment, and you're going to get to chves, where do we go in the lounge with all the important people, and then you're going to go, and then you're going to convince them and have influence over them, then avad that's mutter. Elot stadin and stadin and kasha. How are you going to resolve the contradiction? One brisa says you're not allowed to go to the stadiums, and one brisa says you are. The Gemara says tanoi. It's actually a machlokas tanoim. The Tanya. One brisa says ein hoilchen et stadinim mit Moshe v'leitzim. You're not allowed to go to the stadina because of Moshe v'leitzim. Rabbi Nosson matir. Rabbi Nosson it's mutter. But shnei dvarim. Two reasons. Why? Number one, echad. Because he can scream and yell when they try to kill the gladiator. The gladiator is literally on his last breath, and the bull is charging. You could scream at the Romans, save him, save him. It might help. And if he dies, you're a Jew, you're kosher to testify, a witness, to be a witness for his wife to be able to get remarried, right? To see if he died. Tanu Rabbana says the Gemara weiter. Brisa says, "Ein holchen l'tartiyos l'kirkisayos." You're not allowed to go. Take a look at these words. It actually sounds even like the English words we use today. Tartiyos means theaters. Karkasiyos means circuses. Yeah. Neshemazablan sham zibul la'avodas kechavim. Because over there, that's where you organize all the tzarchim of Avodah Zarah. People donate money for the Avodah Zarah. Divrei Rabbi Meir. You're right. When they do that, it's also because people will accuse you that you are part of the crowd that serves Avodah Zarah. Even if it's a makam that you don't collect money or you don't raise funds for the Avodah Zarah is there, it's asr because of Moshe V'leitzim. So theater, circuses, it's asr Moshe V'leitzim. My benayu, what is the difference between a mayor and the chachamim? It seems like they're both asering. So what's the machlekes? It depends. If you ended up going to these places and you were over, and somehow you made a business deal with a guy that's over there, maybe you sold them an item that is roi to be makriv to their avodah zarahs and you got money for it. The shaila is whether you're allowed to use that money. That's the machlokes. So chachamim say it's usher to go. Yeah. So you don't have to be chayshish that the Jew did business. Rav Meir says you do have to be chayshish. Right. Okay.
Okay.
Said the Gemara, Dorshim and Pazi, Mai Dechsev Ashlo Yish, Ashlo Holach, Batzas Reshoim, Uvederech Hatoim Lo Yomad, Uvemoishav Leitzim Lo Yashav. Ask the Gemara. It seems to be redundant. If you don't go to these places, Heichen Omad. Yeah, so how is he Omad in Derech Hatoim? Machshli Omad, if he never stood, Heichen Yoshav. He's not understand. How do you sit down? Machshli Yoshav, Heichen Lotz. If he never sat down, how does he join all the Latzonis? How do you translate Latzonis? Latzonis is
Jokesters.
No.
Yeah, the sinisters.
Mocking the Chachamim.
Mocking the Chachamim. What are you saying, Shol? What were you saying?
See, it says, אם הלכת, אז בסוף אתה...
זה שהגמרא אומר.
אתה תהיה באותה עצה איתם ביחד, ובסוף אתה גם תשב איתם ביחד.
יפה, זה התירוץ של הגמרא. ברוך שכיוונתו. אלוהים לך שם הולך סופר לעמוד. That if you go, you're going to end up standing there, you're going to end up spending time there. V'im omad, and if you stand there, Sefer Leishav, you're going to end up sitting down. V'im Yoshev, Sefer Lolat. Zim Lotz, Olav, Kasvaymer, Im Chacham to Loch, Ve'latz, Lavat Chatisa. And by the way, you can say this also about the internet, right? So it's like, I just have to go to the internet and I have to just look up one thing, right? And then you end up spending time. You end up browsing. And once you browse, boom, you get into different websites. And once you get into different websites, ooh, you stay, you watch this, you watch that, and who knows where you end up. So it's mamish, it's not just a physical location that we're talking about. It's talking about your mind wandering to different places not supposed to go, so you end up in places you don't want to, or you never expected you would. Anyone who's misloitzitz, who scoffs, Yisurin boin olav, he's going to have Yisurin. Shnemer v'atas lotzah ben yechzikum esrechem. Amalu rav l'arbonon, b'matusa b'ina menaychu. I beg of you, when I come to you, l'tus leisotzu, l'leis alechi Yisurin. So you shouldn't have Yisurin. Amar av k'tinu kol misloitzim, mizanoisim mismatin. His parnasa dwindles. Shnemer mashach yodoi es loitzitzim. Amar av shim malakish kol misloitzis nefel beganim. He goes to Gehenna. Shnemer zayd yoir leitz shmoi oisa be'ever zodom and ever Gehenna. Shnemer yoim ever yomahu. Amar b'oishi kol misyair. Anyone who's arrogant, nefel beganim, also goes to Gehenna. Shnemer zayd yoir leitz shmoi oisa be'ever zodom and ever Gehenna. Shnemer yoim ever yomahu. Okay, all these psukim. Amar tanchem and chenloi. Kol misloitzitz goyrim kloyel oilam. Anyone who's misloitzitz brings destruction to the world. Shnemer atal tes leizot ben yechezkum esreichem. Yeah, kichol v'nechrata shamati. Omer Belazar kashi. The leitzonis is so bad. Shetchilasa yisurin v'soifa kloya. The result of it is that it comes yisurin, suffering, and in the end, it destroys a person. Darav shim pasi. Ma'idich sev ashi ash loch batzas shoyim. Zesh leholach latiyos because zesh ledikhavim. Person doesn't go to theater or circuses. Derechtam leyomad. Zesh king yoin. Somebody doesn't go to these horse race or somebody doesn't hunt. These hunting trips. He doesn't sit around betachbulois in strategizing. Strategizing what?
No, it's a fast hands. You know those people that do like cards and stuff like that, really fast hands?
Sleight of hand?
Yeah.
Sleight of hand. Okay, that's what it means. Magicians. I might as well take some sleeping pills, yeah? I can't do anything that's fun, so I'm just going to go to sleep, yeah? Talmud Leimer, no. Don't go to sleep, so now Hashem, I can't do anything, so I'll go to sleep. Gemara says, no. Talmud Leimer, use your time to learn Torah. Avram Avinu. They were Rishoyim. Yeah? So over here Rashi says that Avram Avinu was alive in the times of the Dar HaFloga, times of Peleg. And over there also, he didn't stand Ba'amidas doim. What does that mean? She'nemar v'aches doim roim v'chatoim la'Hashem ma'oid. Yeah? In other words, Lot chose to go to his doim, and Avram didn't. So that is the kasher between Shali Omad and Dechtam Le'omad. Moshe Leitz Lo Yoshav, Shlo Yoshav Moshe Anshe Plishtim. Avram Avinu didn't sit with the Anshe Plishtim, the Shalatzona Moshe Nemar v'hikatayv libam, v'yomer kiru l'shimshain, v'hisachek lanu. Okay. So there, I guess Shimshon did do it.
Yeah. went
Right.
into their city.
He went into the city, and Avram Avinu didn't.
You know, he at the end he suffered.
And he suffered, right? That's what led to his downfall. Yeah, that's what led to his downfall. Right. 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 And Lamaisa, you see, Avram Avinu didn't pay attention to the late sonim, to the scoffers, the plishtim, because remember, when Yitzchak was born, what does Rashi say at the beginning of Parashas told us? Rashi says that the plishtim made fun. They said that maybe it's the son of Avimelech, right? So he didn't pay attention to them, and that's why it says Moshe v'leitzim lo yoshav. Says the Gemara. That's why Hashem made Yitzchak look like Avram Avinu. Ashrei ish yores Hashem ashrei ish v'lo ashrei isha. Why does it say ashrei ish? Glad is the man who fears Hashem. Yeah. Why does it only the man? Why not the woman?
The man is only have יצר הרע ללמוד תורה. אישה doesn't have יצר הרע.
Interesting. Okay. Amar Rav Amar Rav. Why? Ashrei mi she'oiseh tshuva kishehu ish. It's teaching you that it's good for a man to do tshuva when he's young. Yeah, a person does it when he's old. His taiva is already not the same. He knows he's going to die soon. So he knows, okay, whatever. I did whatever I did when I was younger. Had a good time. And now I'm older, so I'll do tshuva at the end. Rav says, no. You should know there are different levels in tshuva. So if you do tshuva when you're young and you're still in your prime, so to speak, and you decide to do tshuva, that tshuva is much higher, reaches much higher. So ashrei ish, a person is glad. A glad is a person who does tshuva when he's still in ish. B'shum Levi Omar, ashrei mishum mizgaber al yitzroi k'ish. It's good for a person to be mizgaber on his yetzer k'ish. In other words, Yeshua Levi says, even if you do it when you're old, but if you renew yourself with young koiches and you're able to be mizgaber yetzer hara like a man, like as if you're young, then it's also gevaldig. A person has to serve Hashem with mitzvahs, but not kedei to be makabel the schar mitzvahs, the reward. V'hainu detnan, hu ha'yomer, antikna shesoiche said in Pikravis, al tiyu ka'avodim ha'masham shirav l'kabel nas kabel pras. Don't serve Hashem on condition to be rewarded, to receive reward. You should always serve Hashem because you want to do His mitzvahs, not because you want reward. Now, Tosfos asks, I'm going to get on this Gemara. Tosfos over here on the side, second Tosfos, Tesam Aleph. Tosfos says, we learned about Baba Basra, Daf Yomi, not too long ago. Yeah, also the Gemara Pesachim and Rosh Hashanah. It's before I started giving Daf Yomi shiur. But either way, it says, if a guy says, Sela Zul tzedakah, he says, I'm going to give tzedakah, Almanas, the Clippers win. Amanas, sheyichya b'ni. I want my son to become healthy. I want my son to recover from a certain illness. Says the Gemara, Harei zeh tzadi gomor. You are a tzadi gomor. Asks Tosfos, the Gemara just said you're not allowed to do mitzvahs on condition that your son is going to get healthy. You have to do mitzvahs because you want to do the mitzvahs. So how do you resolve this Gemara with that Gemara?
If he's not mitcharet, then
A Jew.
Says Tosfos that it depends if you have charata. Let's say your wish or the condition that you made never came to fruition, never came true. Do you regret it or not? If you don't regret it, then you can make as many conditions as you want. You can say, Hashem, I'm giving this tzedakah because I want my son to get healthy. Let's say, God forbid, son doesn't become healthy, and you gave tzedakah, so you think back to yourself, I regret it. Look, I never should have given that money. Never became healthy. Says Tosfos that you're not allowed to do, because then it shows that the whole mitzvah is on condition of that. But if you say, Hashem, look, I'm giving it tzedakah regardless. I would like for you in the schus of this tzedakah for this and this to happen. Says Tosfos, that is absolutely mutter. So you see from here, an unbelievable insight. A person does a mitzvah. You should know that you could regret. If you regret the mitzvah, you lose the schar. You lose reward. I had once a guy knock on my door, and he knocked on my door the year before, and we got close, and I gave him a big check. Okay. Knocked on my door the next year, and I gave him the same check. I give it to him, he looks at it, and he's unhappy. Now, I gave him a big check, and I literally stretched for him. I never give that amount to anybody. And he had come with somebody else, and they started pressuring me to give more. And I just had such a bad taste in my mouth. I ended up writing another check, but I was struggling. I was like, part of me was like regretting. Like I shouldn't have, like I felt bad. There was a sour taste in my mouth. And I kept thinking, like, you're not allowed to regret a mitzvah. Like I was struggling with it. Sometimes you do a mitzvah, and you think that you're going to get a certain reward. People tell me, I had a guy he told me recently. He says that he's not doing a certain avera that he used to do because he needs atzlach in business. On condition Hashem is going to help him have atzlach in business. I said, don't go down that route. I'll tell you why. Because if you don't get the deal, if you don't have atzlacha, what's going to happen? You might regret it. You might regret the mitzvah that you did. You do the mitzvah regardless. You do the mitzvah because the mitzvah of chafetz ma'od, the Gemara says. You want to do the mitzvahs of Hashem. If you ask Hashem on condition of that, okay, you're allowed to, but as long as you don't end up regretting it.
Isn't a vera regret?
It's not that you lose the mitzvah. You lose the schar. You lose any reward, any investment you made. Yeah, you lose the investment. That's what you see from this thesis. Okay, so let's the Gemara weiter. Reb Shol, no, I'm saying Reb Tzvi, we're up to, where we're up to? We're up to like 15 lines from 50 to 20 lines from the top of your Testament Aleph. Okay, says the Gemara. Kiyem b'toyras Hashem cheftzoi. It says, what is this?
So, first mission check out was paragraph. Look at the first.
Yeah, in other words, we don't know the schar you get for each mitzvah.
Yeah, but he says, look at the this. It's important for a person to be balanced.
Balanced. Yeah?
Yes.
Beautiful. That's Rebbe.
That's Rabbi.
Rebbe Yomer. Yeah, you can have Rebbe right now, the next member in the Gemara. Kim b'teres Shem Cheftzai. Omer Rebbe, ein odem loy b'Torah, elo mimokim shali b'chafetz. A person should only learn Torah where his heart desires to learn. A person doesn't have to force himself to learn Kabbalah if it's too deep for him. So learn Gemara. If you can't learn Daf Yomi, learn Mishnah. Learn something else. Whatever speaks to your heart. Rebbe says, the Torah says, the pasuk says, Kim b'Torah Hashem cheftzoi. You have to want it. So ein adam loy b'Torah elo makshli b'chafetz shenem kim zechad. The Arizal writes, this is unbelievable. The Arizal says that you should know that if you enjoy learning a certain masechta, you enjoy learning a certain topic of Torah, you should know the reason why you enjoy it is because that's your tikkun of your neshama. Your neshama came down to complete herself in that area of Torah. That's why you have the chayfetz. The chayfetz is a sign that this is what your neshama needs to accomplish. And the reason why you don't have a chayfetz in other areas of Torah, because in previous Gilgulim, you might have already learned those areas. So if you have a chayfetz in a certain area, you should know this is your tikkun.
Oh, Hilchos Talmud Torah says you're shalish and you're limudo.
Yeah?
It says you should divide your limud in 3 parts.
We'll talk about it in Amud Beis, right here. Right here. The Gemara is right here, actually. We'll see. By the way, the Heilige Pnei Menachem from Ger says, Shalibai is Rosh Tevis. Oh my gosh, I forgot. It's Rosh Tevis, V'ata banim shiru lamelech. V'ata banim shiru. We know, V'ata kizim l'chem as shira azois, right? Torah is called shira. So this is Rosh Tevis, V'ata banim shiru lamelech. You should sing. How should you sing? You're only singing when you're learning what you love. Right? If a person pushes himself and is depressed, he can't learn this and that, then he's not going to be singing. Something more weiter. Levi Reb Shimon Rebbe, Yasser Kamed Rebbe. 2 Talmidim, Levi and the son of Rebbe were learning from Rebbe. The Kapaski Sidra. And they were reading the Parsha, I guess Parsha Shavua. Salik Sefer, they finished learning that Parsha, that Sefer in Chumash. Levi Omar, so Levi says, you know what, next topic I want to learn, Leisel and Mishlei. Let's learn Mishlei. Reb Shimon Rebbe Omar, Rebbe's son said, I don't want to learn Mishlei, let's learn Tehillim, I want to learn Tehillim. So Gemara says, Kafye, so Reb Shimon forced Levi the Isa Tehillim, and he was able to convince him, I guess, to force him. His father was the one teaching, Reb Shimon Rebbe. So he says, they brought Tehillim, that's what they learned. Kimatu Hacha, so one of the first psukim of Tehillim is, Kim B'Taras Hashem Cheftzai, right? So right away, Parish Rebbe v'Omer, Rebbe explained the pasuk, and he said, Ein odem Eloi b'Torah l'chsel b'chavetz. So Amar Levi, Rebbe, Nasat l'Rishas Lamed, I'm leaving the shiur. You just gave me permission. Yeah, you started learning Tehillim. I wanted to learn Mishlei. You just gave me permission to leave the shiur because you explained that Ein Odem Loimed Elo Makom Shali B'Chafetz. Omar Rabbi Avdimi. Rav Dimi says, Kadosh Baruch Hu will do what you want if you're learning Torah. He repeats that drasha. Another member of Rav, Batchila, you should know, before a person is misyageya, he toils in Torah. Nikras al Shmei Shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. That Torah is called by the name of Hashem. It belongs to Hashem, that Torah. But after you understand it, after you review it, Nikras al Shmoi, that Torah has your name on it. Shenemar, but Torah's Hashem Cheftzoi. It's first called Torah's Hashem, right? You learn it superficially, it's called Torah's Hashem still. You haven't absorbed the message of Torah, the Sugya, once you're Yagya, that's called Torah, it's your Torah. First, you learn superficially, right? Make sure you understand the words, that's all. And then afterwards, after you understand the words of the Sugya, then then you plummet the depths of the Sugya.
You know when it's yours? When you
there you go. That's right. Only then it becomes yours. You should learn Daf Yomi even though you forget. Rava says, keep learning even if you forget you're learning. Sometimes you'll read the Gemara and you don't even know what the Gemara is saying. Rava says, don't stop. I'm learning because my nefesh desires to learn, right? Learning Torah is like the food for your soul. Garsa ksiv v'lo ksiv tachana. It says garsa and not tachana, which means garsa is when you take chitim, right, and you don't really grind it very finely. You don't make flour out of it. You just grind it into big pieces. Right, so big pieces can't be absorbed. Right, so it's not iyun, because big pieces, large pieces can't be absorbed in the same way that fine flour can be absorbed. So here, garsa nafshel tava, even though you can't absorb it because they're two big pieces, you don't really understand it, still don't stop learning because it's tava, it's something that you desire. Right? Rashi says, "Maroiv tavasi l'Torah." Right? I'll do my best. That's what we got to do. Right? So, look, you have people who say they don't want to learn Daf Yomi. Why not? Because they learn it, they don't really understand it, they forget it. Yeah? So say, I'm going to learn something else. But the truth is, they don't end up learning anything else. Right? So they have this excuse walking around. I can't learn the daf. It's too fast. I don't absorb any information, and I forget it quickly. What's the point? What's the point? And a lot of the sugis, it's just I don't even get it. What's the point? Rava comes here and says, Lo'olam, forever and ever, always ligras inish, continue learning. Obviously, if you find the chavrusa, and you know you're enjoying a different limit in Torah, and you're consistent in it, that's what Rebbe said. Rav himself said, you should learn what you love learning. But if you're just, waiting to find the chavrusa, waiting to figure it out, says Rav, no, Lo'olam ligras inish. Rav Rami ksiv, Rav Rami has the stira, contradiction. Ksiv al gape, ksiv al kisei. It says that somebody who's oisik b'Torah, right? It says they sit al gape, okay, which means a very high place. It's like kanafayim, either it's kanafayim or it's on top of a wall. Ksiv al kisei, which is not kavua, by the way, right? Al gape means it's a very temporary seat. Ksiv al kisei, which is much more kavua, which is much more established. Right, but you can't sit there in a kavua de ga'ofen. You can't sit there in the kavua. It's like sitting on a plane. You have to get off eventually. Yeah, al kisei, when you're sitting on your recliner at home, that's a kavua de place. The Gemara says, why does it first say al gape and then al kisei?
One says where the Torah is, one says where we are, though. No?
Oh, batchila al gape, in the beginning, when you're learning Torah, yeah, then you're learning, you're just moving from one place to the next to learn Torah from different chachamim. So you're not staying anywhere consistently, and you're not establishing yourself in any one place. Ulubasoif, and at the end, al kisei, you become such a Talmud Chacham that you can be kaveh yourself in your own chair, and then you can learn and teach Torah. Ksiv b'roish meraymim, it says.
One pasuk is talking about where the Torah is. One pasuk is talking about.
This is the next one. Ksiv b'roish meraymim, yes. It says by the Torah is nitzav b'roish meraymim. It's all the way up there in the sky, right? It's too high to reach. Ksiv ali darech, and it says it's available like as you're traveling, right? Wherever you are, Torah is available. So the Gemara says, Astira. Is the Torah in the heavens, or is the Torah over here? It says, when you start learning, it feels out of reach. It feels like it's so far above you, and you can't even get it. But if you're consistent and you stay with it, then it becomes as clear, it becomes as accessible to you as Ali Darach. Ula Rami. We'll ask another stirik. It says you have to drink water from your pit, right? So water in your pit, it's not so. It's first of all, it's limited, right? It's also in a pit, and you have to bend down, and it's not so geschmack. And then it says, and then you'll drink from the flow of your well springs, right? It just keeps coming. It keeps coming, fresh water. So the Gemara says, which one is it? A mayim from a bar or flowing water from a wellspring? The Gemara says, Batchilo shei mayim beberecha. In the beginning, it feels like, you're struggling and you have to gather all the mayim from other people. You have to gather from everybody and put it in your own file cabinet to study it and to review it. Nothing is yours. But if you stay with it and you review and you learn from everybody else and you put it into one place in a bar, noislim, you'll begin flowing. You'll be able to access what's inside of you and to flow from within the Mayim Chayim that's inside of you. What does it mean? Pashab Shat means somebody who has a lot of money, Hoin Rav, right? Then he's going after the Hevel, right? And once he goes after the Hevel, he's not going to be, right? He has money, right? People win the lottery, right? All of a sudden they're millionaires. And they start buying houses, they start buying expensive cars, and before they know it, yemat, it's gone, right? But the kovetz al yad, but somebody who works for it, he understands what it means to make $1, $5, $10, right? He works slowly, he puts away here and there, then yarbe, then he'll have a lot of money. So the Gemara says, if a person, it's also by Torah, if a person grabs a lot at one time, then mismayit, right? A person says, on Shavuos, I'm going to finish Shas, right? Or my way from here to Eretz Yisrael, I'm going to finish a Masechta, right? You want to say, just learn one blot, yeah? You end up with nothing. If you chap, if a person makes terasa chavilos, right? The word hevel and the word chevel, right? They're both pronounced with the same part of the mouth. So the Gemara darshans, hoin mechevel, right? Hoin is Torah, mechevel, you pack it together in one package, a lot of it, mismayit, in the end, you're not going to remember anything. But if you learn a little bit, you review it, you learn again, you review it, you learn again, a little bit, one daf at a time. Then you'll be able to accumulate a lot. Rava said, the Chachamim know what Rav Huna said. Go slow. Ma'at. Yeah, la'at. And review everything. But they're over on it. The Chachamim, they want everything, they want a lot at one time. And they're over at Rav Huna's advice. I actually heeded Rav Huna's advice. I learned a little bit at a time, I reviewed it again and again, and I was able to accumulate all this Torah. What does that mean? A person says, Rav Lozman says, the pasuk over there in Mishlei says that somebody who is dishonest, right? He's remia in his hunting strategies, right? He's hunting, but he does it in a dishonest way. He'll never be able to roast his goods. He'll never be able to eat it. He'll never come to eat it, right? It'll get lost.
He's not going to live. He's going to die.
See, darshans, yachroich, right? In some way, can be explained yichya and yarich yamim. So that's what he says. Person is not going to be able to live too long. And he's referring to divrei Torah as well. A person who learns a lot of Torah dishonestly, which means he quickly learns something to show people he knows. He doesn't really know. But he quickly, he puts together, he cheats on a shiur and he pretends like he's all that. And he gives the shiur to the masses, and people start believing, wow, this guy is a real Talmud Chacham. You should know that's Remiya Tzeidai. He's hunting for these different Makairis in a dishonest way to present himself as if he's a big Talmud Chacham. You should know that somebody who is a Tzeider Amoi, he is cunning in the way he hunts. Yachrech, he will be able to keep what he hunts. In other words, a Talmud that is learning b'chachma, I guess he translates haramoi, means cunning. He's cunning in the way he strategizes his learning. He will be able to roast what he eats. it's a mashal to a person who hunts birds. Im shaber knafesh lev shani. So he hunts one bird and he catches it and he breaks the wing. So now the bird can't fly away, so he can keep it. Right? Then miskayem is biyadai. Kula miskayem is biyadai. So each one that he catches, he breaks its wing and he's able to, put it away and eat it later. V'mlav ein miskayem is biyadai. So what he means to say is that before you catch another bird, make sure to break the wing of the first bird. What does that mean? Review what you're learning. Make sure you have it in your pocket. Right? Put it in your pocket. Otherwise, it's going to fly away from you before you can learn the second piece of Gemara. Says the Gemara Vaita v'hoy ke'et shosel apal gemayim Amar de Berabiana ke'et shosel v'loy ke'etz netua. Shosel is usually refers to an eitz that's been rerouted, right? Rerouted means it was planted over here and then you uprooted and then you rerouted it somewhere else. So a person has to be like an eitz shosel. Why? He has to learn from different rabbeim, right? You go to one shiur, that's one rebbe. Then you go to another shiur, another year, it's another rebbe. That's the way to learn Torah. You want to be able to learn from different rabbeim, not stay stuck with one rebbe your entire life. Gemara says, right? V'loike eitz natua, not like an eitz that's planted in one place the entire time. Which means if you learn Torah just from one Rebbe, you're not going to see a simon bracha in your learning forever. Chizda says, I want to tell you one thing. I'm afraid once I tell this to you, you're going to leave me. You're not going to want to learn from me anymore. Chizda said this Talmudim, it was honest, right? He said, if you learn Torah just from me, you're not going to be simon bracha. So right away, Shavku va'azil kamei de Rabba. They left and went to Rabba. Omar lahu, so Rabba said, no, hanimili svara. When do we say that you should shop around and learn from different rebbeim? That's only when you want to learn how to learn. The svara, right? The analysis, how to break down a svara, how to tell a chidush. Then you need different rebbeim. So this way you hear different ways, different schools of thought, right? That's a good thing to have other rebbeim. Avol Gemara, but if you want to learn the text, to understand the text of the Gemara, what we have in the text, Gemara Merav Echad Odif. That's better from one Rebbe. Why? Because different Rebbeim have different girsois in the text. Just keep to one Rebbe, one girsa. Oh, very good. Asay l'charav loshen yochid. The doctor says loshen yochid means one Rebbe, and that Rebbe keich l'pal glishna. So you shouldn't be confused with different gersois. Says the Gemara weiter. Alpal gemoyim omer b'tanch mechem loy lo'olam yishalish odem shnoisav shlish b'mikra shlish b'mishnah shlish b'talmud. A person should always divide his life into three. 1/3 should learn Chumash, 1/3 Mishnayos, and 1/3 Gemara. Gemara says 1 second. A person knows how long he's going to live for. How's he going to divide his years if he doesn't know how long he's going to live for? He knows he's going to live 80 years, 90 years, 30. Doesn't know. So how can you tell me a person should do that? Says the Gemara, Kikamina biyoime. What we meant to say was biyoime, right? It means the days. So here we have Machlekes Rashi and Tosfos. What does it mean biyoime, the days? Rashi says biyoime is that 2 days a week, right? You have Sunday, Monday, Chumash, Tuesday, Wednesday, Mishnayos, and Thursday, Friday, Gemara. So Shmuley once asked me, so what do you do on Shabbos? So what do you do on Shabbos?
You don't learn.
Nice, Shmuley, I remember you asked me that question. What do you do on Shabbos? So Shmuley answered, Chazara, Nacham al Chazara. Okay, Tosfos says no. Tosfos doesn't like this pshat in Rashi. Why? Because to divide your week, you also have to know how long you're going to live for. Yeah, who says you're going to live out the week? So to divide the week is also not being Mekayim.
Every day you divide it.
Every day.
When you do Avodah Zarah.
So what?
You could die in the middle of the
Okay,
day.
so you could die in the middle of the day. That's true also. Eitan is asking, you could die in the middle of the day. So Rabbeinu Tam has an Eitzah.
When is going to be the last moment?
Exactly, so you can never do it.
You can never do it. So Rabbeinu Tam has an Eitzah. Hear what Rabbeinu Tam says in our Tosfos here, top Tosfos Testament days. He says, the near Rabbeinu Tam, the onush oiskim Talmud Bavli, what we're doing right now is a kiyum of this Gemara. Why? Because Talmud Bavli means it's belula min hakol. Talmud Bavli has Tanakh, it has Mishnayos, it has Gemara. So if you stick to the daf, right, you're being Mekayim the Gemara of la'olam yishalish adam yoimav, right? The days, every day, learn a bit here, a bit there, and a bit Gemara. Right? That Rabbeinu Tam says, not just Rabbeinu Tam says, if you learn Gemara every day, you're Mekayim the 3 areas of Torah because the Gemara incorporates and includes all areas.
What about your Shalom?
I'm assuming you're Yerushalmi as well. Yerushalmi brings Psukim, it has Mishnayos, and is Yerushalmi called Gemara? I think that Yerushalmi is also called Gemara, yeah?
It's not a third though.
It's more halacha? It's not so much the Masa Matan.
There is.
You need somebody who Shol knows Yerushalmi. So he
There is.
a little bit?
There is a God that there is, but not like the Baal.
There's not
Everything.
Okay.
it's not split up into thirds then.
Which one?
Then this Gemara doesn't. What shaykh is with this Gemara?
Look, we're learning Psukim, right? We're learning Psukim. We're learning Psukim right now. We're dashing, the whole Gemara is dashing different Psukim. And it's going in a Mishnah. And this is Gemara. So you have all three.
Yeah, but it's not split up into thirds. It's mostly Gemara. It's not mostly Torah. It's not.
It intertwines. It ping-pongs back and forth. Psukim, what does this pasuk mean? What does the Mishnayos mean? A contradiction of Bryce and Mishnah.
Why doesn't it just say
So-
Gemara?
Yeah.
Huh?
Why is it split up into three in the first place? Then you should just say Gemara.
According to Rabbi Tam, why doesn't the Gemara say, learn Gemara? Wow, Gemara B'Matzia, the end of Eila Matzia says an amazing thing. Gemara says that if it learns Gemara, I think his Rebbe said that, if you learn Gemara, ein lecha mida gedola mezu. The best thing is to learn Gemara. The best thing is to learn Gemara.
Why don't we just
And when he said that, as soon as Rebbe said that, the Gemara says over there, so everybody started learning Gemara and they dropped everything else. So Rebbe said, no, la'olam avaratz l'mishnah. You should also learn Mishnayos. So you see that there is a difference. Gemara doesn't really include the Mishnayos the way Rabbi Tam. That's a kasha. But what do you say?
So then
So
why?
then what's the answer?
Yeah.
There's no Gemara in
So
the
then how do we
Talmud,
split it up
Rebbe.
into
Yeah.
thirds?
Rebbe was Masada the Mishnayos. Rebbe was
There's
the
no
one.
Gemara, so that's not the same Gemara as this. This is a different Gemara. Rebbe.
So I think Gemara means the explanation.
So
Right.
this Gemara is what Rabbi Yoel was talking about.
Ah, okay, that's what you're answering. Aha. Oh, very nice. Okay,
Okay, so
Shalom,
then
same
how do you
good.
split it up into thirds then? It still doesn't answer the question.
This is split. This itself is
So
considered
you're
splitting
not-
into
would we
thirds,
go
no?
Rashi or Rabbi
I can
Yehuda?
follow people.
I hope we go like a Tam because I don't spend enough time or at all some days learning
Is that why you're supposed
Yeah.
to learn Shnai Mikra?
Shnai and Mikra
Split up there.
because you have to learn a bit and a bit and a bit. Could be. I don't. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I hope Rabbi Tam is right because that's what I do. Okay. Ashapir yitin bita amarav. Pir yitin beitoi v'alehu la yiboil. If a person learns Torah and is mekayim the mitzvah, then v'alehu la yiboil v'choy la sheyas yatzliach v'mlav ala loymid v'ala malamed. Yeah. Alei makasvar meloikin ershom kim kamoitz. If he's not mekayim the mitzvahs karoi, in accordance with what he's learned and what they taught or what he taught, then yeah, kim kamoitz. Yeah, he's not gonna. The ruach is gonna blow him away. Amr Rabban Rabban Rabban. My dechsiv ki rabim chalolim hipila. Zet talmud shelo yigil loira. If somebody paskins, but he didn't learn enough and he doesn't know really how to paskin, but as it presents himself as a grois eruv, a grois erua, he should know that he kills people. It's mamish commits ritzicha.
Yeah, because they're going to make him serious. Doesn't know how to
Because
to teach Alachot Shabbos is going to obviously going to kill them.
yeah. Wow. Gemara says, and what about Zetam Shagila or Moira? Hatsumim Kala Rugel, Zetam Shagila Ra ve'enai Moira. And that's a Talmud that is a Gila but he holds back and he doesn't teach. By the way, they say from the Vilna Gaon, if you look at the Aseres Hadibris and Parshas Yisra and Parshas Veschanon, you'll see there's a difference in the commandment of Loi Sirtzach. Right? One Loi Sirtzach is spelled with a kamatz, Loi Sirtzach, and the other is Loi Sirtzach with a patach. So the Vilna Gaon says, you know why? It's this Gemara. This Gemara says that if somebody's a Moira Hayra and he's kamatz means he closes up and he doesn't teach, and he doesn't pass Shailas, then he's bringing Ritzicha, right? He's bringing, it says in the Pasuk, Vatsumim Kol HaRugel. And the other is somebody who didn't learn enough and he presents himself as a Moira Ra and he's patach and he opens his mouth, that's Lo Sirtzach. So you see this Gemara's marum is in the Aseres Hadibros of Lo Sirtzoch, somebody who knows and he holds back kamatz, and somebody who doesn't know and he opens his mouth, Lo Sirtzach patach. V'ad kama? Ad arba'in shnin. Until how much, how long do you have to wait for a Talmud Chacham to be considered as Roy Lahira? 40 years. right? Because until 40, a person's das is not miyushav, right? Is not developed fully. So therefore, wait till 40 before you paskin. Ask the Gemara, Rava was less than 40 when it started paskin. How do we know? Rashi says, they say he only lived. How old was Rava when he died? 40 shana, 40 years. So when did Rava, the whole Gemara, everything about Rava was before 40 years. So how could Rava have done it if you're telling me you have to wait till 40?
Because Rava was on a different level.
Hasam, the Shabbat. So Mamela, Rava was equal with the Gadol Eir. He was on his level at a much younger age. So Mamela, like Shmuel is saying, that's why it was mutter for him to paskin before he reached 40 years old.
Then why are we saying the 40 years thing in the first place if it's arbitrary?
The rule, every rule has exceptions. But the rule usually is if you're not Rava.
It's not really a rule then, it's just saying like...
Even that rule has an exception.
It's not really a rule, it's just a normal case. And normally at 40, then you could.
Okay, you're asking...
It doesn't sound like a rule.
So why are we bringing up Rava?
Even if someone's greater than you and you're 40.
Because we know Rava lived only till 40, so he must have passed
Huh?
Unless when Azariah was 18 and he was the Nasi.
But if you're
I can't
40
see
and
it.
someone's greater than you, you can still teach. That's the rule.
Wow. Shmuel is asking, why do we ask him Rabbi Lazar ben Azariah? He was 18 years old, right? He was only 18 years old and he became the Nasi.
They didn't want to.
Right.
I know, but he was the Nasi.
Lazar ben Azariah was a Tana. Rava was an Amora.
That was a miracle.
I'm sure we can come up with plenty of examples.
But we know, he was Kiven Shirim Shana. He had a marriage.
Yeah, because he was the deal.
And that's not true, they also choose him.
How many exceptions
That's
the
true.
rule is broken?
That's right.
Also, because Baruch made a nace that.
Yeah, the nace was the message that he was an exception. Very good.
It's just
Yep.
nice that Hashem lets people have like dust, like kids.
The exceptions, like
Kids
yeah.
Yeah, but how many exceptions to a rule before the rule is broken?
No, the exceptions.
I'm sure we can come up with more.
There's probably more.
Or no, 10
That is
exceptions.
an exception. It's a qualification.
Also,
It's not a rule.
It's a rule for us. That's it's not a rule for that.
Then
Rules.
Okay, we'll stop over here.
You're not.
Shkoyach, everybody.
Sorry.